Fighting does not make you a hero.
What if I promise to be careful? Just a shield, then.
Diana.
No sharp edges.
Be careful of mankind, Diana. They do not deserve you.
You've told me this story.
What is this place? Who are you people?
We are the bridge to a greater understanding.
Right.
What is your mission?
Well, here's the thing. You are in more danger than you think. The boys in the trenches called her Dr. Poison. Millions would die. The war would never end.
I'm going, Mother. If you choose to leave, you may never return. Who will I be if I stay?
Will come when you have to run.
To the war.
Well, technically the war's that way, but we gotta go this way first.
How can a woman fight in this? Ooh.
Who is this young woman?
She's my,
Diana, Princess of the Mist.
Prince. Diana Prince. If you believe that this war should stop, help me stop it right now. What are you?
You will soon find out.
Keep it up. Just keep going. Let's hear it up.
Thank you.
Wow.
Not just because they made this movie, but because they made it well. You guys made a great movie. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, there you go. Patty, let's start with you. You know, you get brought on as a director. What was your take? What did you go in with when you decided you want to do Wonder Woman? What was your take on the material?
So some people have heard I'd been actually, peripherally talking to Warner Brothers about it for a long time. And the thing that always excited me the most about Wonder Woman, beyond being a big fan myself and all of that, is that I love the grand classic genre of superhero that's like big, epic, makes you feel everything, movie like Superman 1 with Christopher Reeve had been to me. So I always said, this is it, man. This is a great chance. She's the grand superhero of our times. And so I just wanted to go for it. And so that was it. That was just to make the biggest, most beautiful movie we could.
It seems like you also like the grand spy movie, the grand war movie as well. You're definitely melding epic genres into this superhero story.
Yeah, we were conscious of that. Like our touchstones going in was Superman 1 meets Indiana Jones, turns into Casablanca, and stays a great superhero film.
Gal, how long ago were you cast as Wonder Woman, as Diana?
About 3 years ago.
And what did they bring to the table for you when you were cast? When they said, you're going to be Wonder Woman, this is what we have for you to do over the course of the next 25 years of your life, or however long they signed you guys
really?
up. I don't know how long
they told you that?
I assume it's 25 years.
All right, good to know. No, not, well, I knew, to begin with, I was very familiar with the character, but I didn't know much about her. So once they cast me, I got these 2 giant boxes filled with comic books and all different materials about Wonder Woman, and I studied her. But when I first shot Wonder Woman for Batman vs. Superman, I kind of shot the end result of the character. So I built her history by myself to myself.
So when you shot Batman vs. Superman, you hadn't started looking at a script or anything for Wonder Woman?
We didn't have the origin script yet. None of that exist. So I had a lot of creative conversations with Zack Snyder, and we established this character, and it was always very important for me to keep all of the feminine qualities in her, even though she's super strong and powerful. But it was definitely a joy to explore her entire arc and history.
Chris, you know, you're Captain Kirk. You get to play. He's not a superhero necessarily, but he is the hero of the movie. What's it like to be? I wouldn't say second fiddle to her, but she's Wonder Woman in this.
Yeah, I had a joy playing opposite Gal and getting a chance to fall in love with her. And Patty's, she gave me an objective, which was flirt, make her laugh, tumble, breathe heavily like you're doing something physical. And I said that sounds like a plan. So
your main objective and your main direction was to flirt.
Wrong.
I mean, you know, all joking aside, the thing that makes this movie special is that it is a romance. It's a deep romance at the center of. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the blow 'em ups. Yeah, I think we've seen New York blow up. I can't, you know, who knows how many times. But this at the heart of it is a romance and a love story. And Patty always referenced Casablanca, which was our touchstone for me. And that was kind of that epic Hollywood old school grandeur was something that I loved to play. And Gal's my pal, so we goofed around and had a good time.
We're pals.
Sure. Patty, you know, we talking about the love story, and I even brought it up to you in the green room. A moment that I really loved in the film is the moment where the two of them kiss, and it's clear that they're going to maybe make out that night or go a little further than that. I don't know. But you linger on Wonder Woman's expression. She has the agency in that moment. It is not Chris that is making the move. Wonder Woman has the look, I want this right now, which is not normally what we would get from a movie like this. It would be the male lead that makes the move. Can you talk about that decision and shooting that?
Yeah, it's funny because it's not even like, so there are going to be a million of those things in this movie where it's not even conscious that I wasn't like, I'm going to turn it around, but it happens accidentally. In this case, what I realized is what is like the most intensely romantic time is the question. Are we? And so that was the greatest period of time. And so that tension between the two of them in which, you know, he very much cares how she feels about what's going on as she does him. So they're checking each other out, and it really made that into a scene that really was so much better than I ever thought it could be.
Well, he's going to leave. I always thought, how are we going to deal with this? And then the question, the electric alive question of like, what's happening here, was like it was just so intense. And then when I saw it cut, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how that scene worked. That said, you give her the final word, though.
Yeah.
She's the one who says, come back in here. Yeah. With her eyes, I would say. Connie, you get to play the Queen. You are Diana's mother in this incredible Amazonian world. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say the name of the world.
Themyscira.
Themyscira, thank you. The Wonder Woman heads are going to kill me out here. Like someone is like, give me your job. You don't deserve it. Themyscira, what was it like creating that world, and what sort of training do you do for this character and this world?
Well, we actually went straight on a regimen that they have been perfecting since Zach did 300. So these people have been building muscle on actors for a long time, and they start you right out with having you eat every 2 hours, and you have to have 3,000 calories a day, and then you do 2 hours of weightlifting, 2 hours of sword fighting, and then 2 hours of horseback riding. And at the end of 2 months, you've become a beast. You're literally you're super strong, and it has been an incredible discovery. But we also talked a lot about, these Amazons. Obviously we have this incredible comic book history and those comic books are just incredible, and this imagined world that's both culture and art, but also martial arts, strength, but also all of it built on a love of just love in general of each other and of humanity and the values that we are custodians of and that we transmit to Diana. And I just had such a ball also with, all of the references to real ancient warrior tribes that really did exist, where women were warriors, and you see them referenced with the falcon / hawk on the breastplates. You know, these were the kinds of falcons that real women warriors had back in the day, and we still have graves where you can see them with their horses, their bird with their horses, and with their hunting dogs, and all of those things went into creating that character.
And Patty, I have to say, opening with that world is really daring, because that is such a thin line, creating a world like that. It could come across as hokey. We've seen it hokey in other movies, but pulling it off right from the beginning, as a viewer, I was like, okay, I'm in good hands here. She was able to pull this world off.
That's nice. That's nice to hear. I have to admit, it was the hardest thing about the whole movie, not just the mascara, but the variety of tones and how to pull a line so that they would all fit together. Very difficult puzzle. I sat and looked for a long time at, okay, fantasy, period, war movie, superhero. I was like, okay. And we really did. We like designed a formula of how we would do them all, but the mascara in particular was difficult, you know, because the real thing about the mascara is, in the comic books, it looks like a real, it has to be a real place, but it's ideal, it's, you know, it's your wildest ideal of a fantasy island. And so I wanted to hit those pockets. I wanted you to almost think you could go there, but also have it be someplace that you can tell you've never seen.
I'm going to throw another tone into this and turn this to Gal, which is a fish out of water comedy, which you kind of get to play when you go into 1930 Germany.
1918.
What was it? Did you expect to be doing a kind of fish out of water comedy with Diana when you come out of Batman versus Superman?
I think that's a big part of what this is a big part of what makes this movie so charming and magical and fun. I think that the fact that she comes from this wonderful, magnificent world of Themyscira, and she was brought up by women, and that's all she knows, and it's everything is ideal and harmony and peace over there. And then she finds this man who comes from a completely different world, where the war is going and people have these social rules and gender is an issue, et cetera, et cetera. I think that, you know, once both of these worlds meet, it just creates those funny communication problems, which we have had the entire time, because I'm speaking Hebrew and sometimes English, you know. So I kept on saying funny things throughout the entire shoot. But on a serious note, I think that it's so charming and it's so refreshing as well. At the beginning, we were worried about, like, how do you really deal, with talking about feminism and about gender and about these kind of things without doing it too much on the nose. And the beautiful thing that Patty and the writers had found is that once it becomes a non-issue, once she's completely oblivious to gender and she's completely oblivious to society rules or how we should behave, then it's interesting, and then it creates all the funny jokes that are like, why? How come I can't be in a with all of the diplomats, and how can I? It was a lot of fun and refreshing.
You know, Chris, you're coming from last year's Oscar-nominated Hell or High Water, which I'd imagine you shot a few movies ago, maybe before this. But what's it like coming from a movie like that back on a studio picture like this?
It's all versions of the same thing, really. That one's a lot smaller and faster. I mean, we shot 6 day weeks on that, and we shot 6 day weeks on this, which should not be asked of anyone.
Wait, you shot 6 to 8 weeks on Wonder Woman?
6 day weeks.
6 day weeks. Oh,
okay. 6 months.
I don't know. This is a different kind of. I mean, like people, I didn't really have a hard job. Really, my job was to show up and be as present as possible to Gal and respond off of what Gal was giving me. This is not great grand character building. It was not, deep work. It was just kind of being quiet enough to play with Gal and be alive with Gal and make sure that comedy played, that straight man, funny man bit kind of worked. So it was a whole different genre and tone. It was like Patty said, my touchdowns are pretty much a Vitamix blender of all of the guys I watched growing up. It's like Han Solo and anything Harrison Ford's ever done, and Bruce Willis, and that kind of guy. I don't know, that guy's guy kind of thing.
Well, speaking of comedy, not to go on too much of a tangent, but I want to give you a round of applause for your hosting of Saturday Night Live earlier this year. He did, I think, one of the best jobs of the season. Congratulations. Were you nervous going into that? Did you have a good time?
I was fucking terrified. It was like, I don't think it's normal at all to stand on the stage in front of 25 million people or whatever it was. So I tried. I was just, a lot of meditating beforehand and. But God, they really know their stuff. It's just like a well-oiled machine. You go in and they throw you into the machine. You just have to figure out how best to be a cog in it. And they have great people handling the whole system.
What did you think when they pitched you the song and the monologue, the Chris's song?
No, I pitched them that.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to sing in the monologue because those are always my favorite monologues when people, I'm not trying to be a comedian. I see those, and those usually don't work.
You want to do Chris Pine's stand-up material?
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. So I was like, this happens to me all the time. I thought it'd be a funny bit, and then the guys ran with it.
Oh, that's great. I thought it was a great bit.
Thank you very much.
Patty, let's talk about the action sequences that you put together in Wonder Woman. I think they look much different than any of the other DC movies or other superhero movies out there. There's something about the freezing of time that you do within these action sequences. What inspired that?
What was interesting about this movie was really where the point of view is, and I'm not the first person to do it. People have done it before, even with superhero movies, but more extreme than is often the case, really this is a movie from Diana's point of view. So this is about Diana's journey of wanting to be a hero, a little girl who wants to be a hero, through this world learning what it is to be a hero. So the point of view of any fight sequence was about what is happening from her perspective during that fight, or what she's learning, or what she's seeing, or what she's getting she's getting the skills to do. And so, I think it's particularly noticeable in like the first big battle that we see. So that battle was not about who's going to win. It is, but it's not. It's about a girl who's watched these Amazons train her whole life, and it looks so romantic because they're not fighting anybody, and they're incredibly capable and they're skilled. And her mother is always saying to her, "I don't want this for you," and she says, "Why not?" And you, even with her, "Why not? That looks amazing." Well, then we see why not. Then a battle starts, and she sees these Amazons transform into something else, and it's all happening so fast, and like. So it's really about somebody seeing warfare and then, gets involved, but it's about someone seeing warfare for the first time from people you're familiar with. And then it's also about how differently they fight than you've seen before, because they're no less effective, but they're doing it slightly differently. And so that was always the interesting question to us. How would they do those moves differently? Like what would the choices be, They end up collaborating more. They end up using surprise and things that, you don't see coming and moving where they are. And so it was cool. It was really cool to think about everything in that way instead of how can we, prove we're just no. It's like they've had to
blow it up good.
Yeah, they've had to take care of business before. How'd they do it? Let's find out,
Gal, what's it like, you had a part in Batman versus Superman, and you've been in the Fast movies a little bit, but you're the lead of this movie, and it's not just a superhero movie. It's one that has integrity and is thoughtful about feminism, as it should be, because it is Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was initially influenced by the feminists of that time. When the movie's said and done, and Patty does an amazing job, what's it like for you to sit and watch that? You're not just watching yourself play a superhero, you're watching yourself play a good superhero in a good movie, which is few and far between.
I'm gonna have to wait and see. No, I have. I've seen. We didn't see the final cut. I've seen the movie a couple of times. It's right now. It's overwhelming. Right now, it feels like this project was this. It felt like one big happy family. Like we were in this commune of people who showed up to work, and it didn't feel like work. We really enjoy working together, working on this character, bringing her back to life. And we kept on saying at times that, wow, this is going to be amazing. Wow, we can't wait for people to see it. Wow, we can't wait for everyone to share it with everyone. And I think that, like, just from the responses and the feedback that we got so far, it's just super overwhelming. I'm so grateful. And it almost feels like we've done even, a bigger thing that we had expected that we will end up doing, even though we gave it everything. So it feels so far, it feels great, but it's a lot to take in.
Patty, how hard was it to hold on to? I mean, it's not heavy-handed in the film, but these themes and I think these values are there within it. Is it hard to hold on to those values in the face of this industry and the way that movies are made within this system?
Sort of. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's interesting since the beginning of my career, and I started here as a painter going to school, and it's been a very cynical time and a very complicated time. Like everything, which I enjoy too, by the way, but a lot of meta comment on things. And it went sort of out of vogue to do pure emotion and simple emotion in a very straightforward way. And I've known that, but that's what my game is, and that's what I've been interested in, doing that with a slight edge and a slight new perspective, because for thousands of years, we never stop wondering about the big themes in life: love, bravery, fear, war. And so that was what I was interested in talking about. So yes, I think it has been, in my career in Hollywood, I think I've noticed that people either do that often glibly, well, some people do it amazingly, but a lot of times people want to be kind of tongue-in-cheek, the kids like, or they want to be more complicated, but to say, no, I mean it. Like, let's try to do this sincerely, and we might fail, and then it'll be really embarrassing. But if we succeed, we could make somebody feel something powerful. And so it is a little it's not been what people have been doing the coolest way. And so it was interesting in that way.
And congratulations, it absolutely works.
Thank
Let's
you.
get some questions from the audience. Who's got a microphone and has a question? You, miss.
This is for Gal. You are a woman in a first major motion picture, and you're a role model for a lot of young women. What values from the film do you want them to take away with or emulate?
I think, like Patty mentioned before, that this movie is a story about a girl who dreams about being a hero. So I can only hope that they can feel like they can be themselves heroes. Is that a proper English? I'm not sure. Thanks. And feel limitless and feel that they should dream and follow their dreams, as cheesy as it might sound. And also, I hope they just purely enjoy the movie and be amused by it.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, you guys are really amazing. But anyway, the question is, how physically demanding was the role for each of you?
Very. To portray this is such an iconic character. You can't, and it was really important for me to portray in the best way that I could. And strength and power are things that are really hard to fake. I love this shirt. Anyway, I was training for 5-6 months. Sorry, 5-6 months prior to the shoots, and I did a lot of 2 hours, like Connie just mentioned, 2 hours of fight choreographies, 2 hours of gym work, 2 hours of horseback riding. For 6 months, it's a lot every day, and that was it. And I ate all the time.
Well, you ate all the time?
All the time.
That's what you were saying, Connie, just like straight protein as much as possible?
Vegetable protein, animal protein.
Yes, everything.
Peanut butter.
Exactly. You name it, we ate it. Everything.
Can I ask, where did you get that shirt? Does he sell that from his personal website, or what is that?
I'm sure he should. The internet's a great place.
Okay, I know the question is not going to go for me, so I'm going to...
Well, I have one for... I actually have one for everyone, and then specifically. Chris, obviously. But thank you guys. I've waited for this movie since I was a little girl, so I cried when I saw the trailer, as did everyone.
Awesome.
So for all of you, I wanted to know, was there ever a fear of creating this movie? Because it does have that backing where everyone has been waiting years for it. And then Chris, you kind of, that was too many kindas, play these characters who test our idea of the male psyche and what we think of masculinity. So I wondered if that was specific to you or if it just kind of fell in your lap that way. And I'm also a Sinatra fan, so I want to know your favorite Sinatra song.
I think you got three questions there, or was there 2 questions? Oh, the question for everyone first. Okay.
Okay, starting from the top, I have an answer. Was it scary? Yes, it was. You know, because I am a filmmaker with very high ambitions myself anyway to make great films. They take a long time. They take a lot of work. It's what a shame to do it if you're not aiming. It can't be just about money, and it can't be about success or fame. It's got to be. It's a life experience. It takes years. So yes, already I'm aiming high to make a great film. But knowing the weight and responsibility of what Wonder Woman means to people, because I myself am a fan, was definitely something I took incredibly seriously and didn't take lightly, you know.
I think you should just jump to your...
I felt no pressure. It was, the Gal had to shoulder this incredible line share of responsibility because she is the Wonder Woman, and she did it. I judge everybody from a pretty practical, do you show up on time? Are you nice to be around? And Gal is the personification of grace and elegance under fire. She had tremendous work ethic, and she's a giggler. That's my favorite. It's my single-handedly my favorite quality in any human being. So we got along like gangbusters, and so no pressure there. I would say right now, I'm not listening to a lot of Sinatra, but maybe Summer Wind would be just a nice, lazy, reminds me of California. Nice and lazy.
And what about the question about masculinity that you had, his character? I thought that was a fascinating
Every
question.
time I put this microphone down, I got to pick it up again. I don't totally know what you mean. What do you mean?
It's not so much how we view masculinity in movies. Like with Steve Rogers versus Steve Trevor, Steve Rogers is, I can rip a log in half, where Steve Trevor's more like, no, let the woman do it. And so it's like.
Oh, well, I guess I always enjoy playing guys that think they're really strong, and usually tend not to be, or shown to be foolish, or I don't particularly, and I'm not enamored by superheroes. I mean, I love this story because it was Patty, and I love the message. And for me, the message is love and compassion, and essentially love conquers all, which is just a thing that we should all remember, I think, in times like these. But I like, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I love Harrison Ford. And Harrison Ford, to me, in Indiana Jones is always, he's the best guy in the room. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to be trying this hard. He fails miserably all the time. Then he gets hit, and he just gets back up again and tries and tries and tries. And that makes me laugh. It makes me feel more human. That resembles, I think, most of us as men. We may want to be Captain America, but we're more often than not the mailman or, the guy next door. And I certainly, had moments of terrifying vulnerability when I was a kid. So I always kind of looked up to the guys that tried to be great and had a bit of that vulnerability that I knew, but were a bit stronger than me.
Gal, I want to give you the last word considering you're Wonder Woman. What do you hope people take from this movie the most?
In continuation to what Patty mentioned before, we left cynicism aside. We went back to simple values, to simplicity, to values that, like what Chris had just mentioned, that are very valuable and relevant, especially nowadays. And if it's love and compassion and acceptance and justice and truth and peace, I hope that this movie will make people, look inside and be better, be good.
Absolutely. Guys, Wonder Woman comes out June 2nd. That's next week, I believe, right? Congratulations, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you all.